What's going on, guys? Aero here, and guys, today I want to talk to you a little bit more about a potential rumor for Pokemon on the Nintendo Switch. Now, the really interesting thing is that I actually want to talk to you guys about a rumor that originated a pretty long time ago for a Pokemon game that I think no one ever expected. So the rumor that I'm talking about is for the next new Pokemon games being called Pokemon Plus and Pokemon Minus. But there was a rumor that came out a really long time ago about Pokemon Plus and Pokemon Minus, and I think this came out in like 2014, so this was even before Pokemon Sun and Moon were revealed. This was like way before, like I think right after Pokemon Omega Ruby and Alpha Sapphire were revealed. This was a rumor that popped up, and I mean, from the sound of it, you're gonna think that this is fake and there's no way that this is real, but as we go down, you're gonna see that a lot of this stuff lines up with rumors and things that we've been hearing about Pokemon on the Nintendo Switch. Now, just like every other leak and rumor that comes out for a video game, you always want to remember the 3 golden words, and that is assume it's fake. You never want to build yourself up with a ton of hype assuming that everything that you see is real and then find out that that's not the case when the official game gets announced. But I think it's just fun talking about this and the potential of this stuff happening if it actually does turn out to be the case, because I think it's cool to talk about stuff like this and how it would be like in a Pokemon game. But yeah, you never want to think of all this stuff as real, and I think you guys are smart enough to know that, but I think it's just going to be fun to discuss this with you guys. So yeah, let's get started. Alright, so the first thing that it says here in this rumor is that Game Freak plans to completely overhaul the basic systems of battle and simplify the process. So here it is, right off the bat, you can see right here that this is something that we've heard about Pokemon Switch. Now, if you remember like the very first Pokemon Switch leak that ever happened, or like the supposed Pokemon Switch rumor that happened way back in like December of last year, I made a video on it, and there was one particular point where this actually came from Serena herself. She was talking about how one of her Chinese like insiders told her that they were going to do something with the battle system with Pokemon Switch and kind of make it like a Digimon World game and simplify it, and this was a rumor that, remember, came out in 2014. So it's just interesting how some of this stuff lines up with a lot of the stuff that we've been hearing about Pokemon Switch. Now, the next thing that it says here is that the development team is going to put a lot of ideas that they've wanted to do for years into this game. And I feel like this is also a thing that's probably going to happen with Pokemon Switch. I feel like it was also something like this that was mentioned in an interview with the president of the Pokemon company, where he said like, we're working with a lot of new ideas and like a lot of new stuff is possible with the Nintendo Switch. And I feel like that's definitely going to be something that's going to happen, as there's a lot of potential with the Switch, with the new power that it gives them. And I think there's definitely going to be some things that we probably would have never expected to see in a Pokemon game. Now, the next thing here is that it already mentions that the 2 versions have code names, which could possibly be the final names, Pokemon Plus and Pokemon Minus. Now, I feel like that Game Freak just wouldn't want to call their next new games Pokemon Plus and Pokemon Minus, but then again, I also feel like that they are kind of running out of names for their Pokemon titles, so I feel like that they could do Pokemon Plus or Minus. They're also pretty creative at coming up with titles as well. Like, I felt like that they were done with titles after Pokemon X and Y, but they did come out with Pokemon Sun and Moon, so we'll just have to wait and see what the games are actually called. Now, the next thing here is also something that's really interesting, as it says here that the theme of the game is going to be old tradition versus new exploration. So this is interesting because it also lines up with a rumor that came from Serena's inside sources about Pokemon Switch towards the end of last year. Now, if you remember, she said here that the theme was going to be like tradition versus innovation, and it's just interesting how that is referenced in this leak as well. Now, the next thing that we have here is actually some information that could potentially be about the gameplay, and it says here that there's going to be more traditional Pokemon-like gameplay that's going to be on the handheld controller, while an all-new gameplay aspect that it's going to be on the terminal unit. And because of how this rumor actually came out in 2014, this whole rumor was talking about how the next Pokemon game was actually going to be on the Wii U. Like, they were talking about in this rumor how because of how the Wii U wasn't selling well, they wanted to develop a Pokemon game to get some Wii U's flying off shelves, as they knew that Pokemon has such a large fan base that if they made a Pokemon game for the Nintendo Wii U, a lot of people would want to go out and buy themselves a Wii U to be able to play that game. And I feel like just because of what they did with the Wii U and how they started developing for the Switch, it could be possible that the stuff that they're talking about here is what they decided to transition onto the Nintendo Switch when they started developing their Pokemon game for that system. So I think that here, when it's talking about the different ways to play the Pokemon game, by saying how there's going to be a more traditional Pokemon-like gameplay on the handheld controller, that could mean you're going to get like a more traditional Pokemon style of gameplay when you're playing the Nintendo Switch in like handheld mode or in tabletop mode on the go, and then if you dock it into the Nintendo Switch docking system, or like what it describes here as the terminal unit, you're going to get a more like home console like new type of gameplay for this Pokemon game, which sounds pretty cool. Now, we also might have some information potentially about what the graphics could look like in this game as well, as it says here, the Pokken Fighters render that was teased was running on alpha kits, while beta kits now have advanced cell shading, going for a very detailed living anime look. Now I'm not sure here what it's talking about with like the Pokémon Fighters render and the alpha and beta kits, but I think it's interesting how it's mentioning cell shading here and how it's going for like a living anime look, because this actually lines up with a rumor that Pixelbar posted a few months back when he was talking about some information about what Pokemon Switch is going to be like. And if I can find that tweet, I'll put a picture of it on your screen, but you can see right here he was talking about how there's going to be like a cell shaded type of gameplay, and it's just interesting how so much of the stuff that we're seeing in this rumor from 2014 lines up with information that we've been hearing about Pokemon on the Switch. Now the next thing here is that it says there's a new Pokemon type that's going to be similar to Shinies. No details on how they work yet, but I've been told that they changed the game significantly. So this was really the thing that convinced me to make a video on this Pokemon Plus and Minus rumor. I know we've been hearing so many things about Pokemon Switch that have been lining up with this Pokemon Plus and Minus rumor, but I just kept thinking like it was probably a coincidence that a lot of this stuff is similar. I don't really think that it means that the two rumors are connected or that this game could possibly be Pokemon Switch, but after I saw this and what recently happened, I kind of feel like there is a possibility of this being true. Now, if you don't know what I'm talking about, recently Nintendo, Game Freak, and Creatures Incorporated have officially filed for a trademark called Ultra Shiny. So this is so interesting because this is official information. This isn't like a rumor or a leak. It's been on Cerebi.net. It's officially been confirmed that they have filed for a trademark called Ultra Shiny. So what could that trademark mean? I mean, there's always a possibility that it lines up with this rumor right here with all the other stuff that we have been hearing about Pokemon Switch, that there could actually be a brand new type of shiny Pokemon or some kind of new rarity to Pokemon that's similar to Shinies. Now, I think that it would be really cool if Game Freak decided to add a new type of Pokemon rarity into the games. Like, I think it would be so cool, and I would love to see what types of new ideas they have for adding a new type of Pokemon rarity and what it could do and like what the different features for it could be like. Like, we already have shiny Pokemon right now, and we pretty much know that with shiny Pokemon, you're getting the same exact Pokemon except that they have a different color scheme. And most of the time, a lot of people like the shinies because they have a different color scheme that looks much cooler on the Pokemon. So I think it would be really cool to see what an ultra shiny Pokemon could look like in the video games. Like, I think it would be so cool if they had even a more different color scheme that a lot of people would love to see. Maybe they could have like boosted stats or something like that. Like if you have an ultra shiny Pokemon, they have like more IVs or something like that, or maybe like their base stat totals are even higher than what the normal Pokemon is like. Like, I think there's so much potential for what an ultra shiny Pokemon could do, and it definitely gives an incentive in trying to find one. So it's just really cool how a lot of this stuff is lining up and how there is an official trademark now of something called Ultra Shiny. But I do want you guys to consider that just because of how we got a trademark that's called Ultra Shiny, it doesn't mean that it's going to relate right to Pokemon Switch or that it's going to relate to some new Pokemon game that's coming out. There is always a chance that it could just be related to something else as well. And a lot of times the Pokemon Company and even Nintendo file trademarks that never get used. I mean, there's so many like Pokemon names that they've trademarked and they've never actually been made into real Pokemon games. So it could just be for something else. Like, I feel like there's a lot of different ways that they could use the trademark Ultra Shiny. I think one that comes to my mind is just having a trading card pack that's going to be named Ultra Shiny. It seems like it could work. Like, we know how the Pokemon Company usually has some different names that they use. I think they had one like recently called Forbidden Light, so maybe now they can have one called Ultra Shiny or something like that. So it's always a possibility that it could be used with the trading cards. Maybe it could be used for some anime episode that they're going to have, like just called the episode like Ultra Shiny or something like that. There's a lot of possibilities for what the trademark could actually be used, so it doesn't mean right away that this is going to be confirmed to be used within Pokemon Switch or some other type of Pokemon video game. But I just do want to talk about how I feel like it is interesting how that trademark lines up with something that we've been hearing about a new type of Pokemon rarity. And so there you go, guys. That's all the information that we have here about this rumor for Pokemon Plus and Pokemon Minus. I just find it so interesting how this rumor originated in 2014 for a Pokemon game that was supposedly being developed for the Wii U, and how so much of it is lining up with the rumors that we've been hearing about Pokemon on the Nintendo Switch. It kind of makes you wonder if this rumor is in fact true, and if they were at one point developing a brand new Pokemon game for the Wii U because of how the sales for the Wii U just weren't doing so well, and then after Nintendo just decided to ditch the Wii U and move on to the Nintendo Switch, the developers at Game Freak were like, okay, let's just stop developing for the Wii U and take this project over onto the Nintendo Switch. A lot of crazy things here, but who knows what's actually going to happen. The really cool thing is that we are going to be getting some official information about Pokemon Switch this week, as if you don't know, Nintendo's investor meeting is going to be happening this week, and during that meeting there's going to be a lot of investors here which are going to be asking questions right to Mr. Kimishima, Mr. Miyamoto, and a lot of other Nintendo big heads, and they're going to be asking about Pokemon Switch. As to investors, Pokemon sells a lot of copies, and they know that they want to get that Pokemon game out there on the Nintendo Switch, as it's going to sell a lot on that system. So hopefully they ask about Pokemon Switch, and also their documents are going to get get updated as well, so we'll be able to see here if Pokemon Switch's release date is still listed as 2018 or later, if it gets changed to 2018, or if it gets updated to 2019. We'll just have to wait and see, and maybe if they really do want to get that game out this year, they could in fact do the full official reveal for Pokemon Switch this week as well, right before their investor meeting, get the reveal for the game out there, and make sure that the investors are excited right before they come into that meeting. We'll just have to wait and see what happens. And so yeah, if you guys enjoyed this video, then please be sure to click that like button, and also comment down below and let me know how you feel about this Pokemon Plus and Minus rumor, and the possibility of it relating to Pokemon on the Nintendo Switch. If you're new to this channel, then please be sure to subscribe. I'm definitely going to have some more Pokemon content in the future, so be sure to subscribe so you don't miss out on that. Click on that bell to become a part of the notification squad. Go follow me on Twitter at @actualaero, and yeah, that's pretty much it. Thank you so much for watching.